Hey everybody, this is BL Blankenship, and today on the Comic Book Podcast, we're here with our guest Maxim Shashkov. How are you doing today, Maxim?
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. So, we talked to a lot of different people within and all around the medium of comic books, manga, all those sorts of things. And today you're a little bit different on this. What you do is you work with other creators. So, there's a man who I was interviewing a while ago, and he was talking about he had taught sequential art in college, and he said that used to there was a day where the comics would sell newspapers. I remember that, Ziggy and what have you. You know, you'd buy them to read what was in the funny pages, as they would call them. Nowadays they've got the Patreon, they've got Amazon Kindle, all sorts of mediums for web comics and things like that. And they've got what you do here, and you go ahead and have a where am I at? I'm trying to pull it up. You got a website, toontube.co, TOON, TUBE.co. And it's a medium where people can go ahead and where they can read comics and find great content and all that sort of things. Tell people about it. Tell them how that works and all that. And of course, as a creator and for creators watching, from that aspect, it's like, can I make money? And from the other ones, it's like, is there cool stuff for me to look at? So have at it.
Great question. As I said, I'm a founder of ToonTube, but the story of ToonTube started more than 2 years ago. My first product was M1E5. We started to help creators and authors to collaborate and they create comics together. Because I do believe that for any venture you need the team. You can't create comics alone, and you need the team. And so far, it was really good. We created more than 100 projects, a huge community in Facebook. But what we realized that most of the people's creators, they still in the mindset that everything is free. Like they really share their comics for free and not actually trying to make money from the comics. So from this perspective, we created ToonTube. ToonTube now is a platform where you can post your comics. You can use different channels to monetize your comics, from selling memberships, selling episode, renting episode, adding the merchandise, and even promote your Kickstarter project. Because we find that most of the creators making money are starting with Kickstarter, and this is the good point for them. And you mentioned right, we are a platform for not only for the good content, but also not free content. I do believe that for any comics, readers are ready to pay, and the people pay for good content, and I do believe that creators should, and this is the great time to make money from their comics. It's kind of renaissance for all comics industry, and I do believe in that.
Excellent. Yeah, and there's certainly been a big change in how things are done. I've got a big background in music. I've done a lot within that. And I mean, and you know that there was a time where you would have to get a record label before you could do much of anything in music. And nowadays, you know, you can go. I mean, people can have a home studio. They can have some gadget on their computer and make something sound pretty radio quality. Honestly, if you get enough, you know, things going on there and learn how to mix it and what have you, which there's YouTube videos on and whatnot. I've worked with a bunch of studios and wrote a lot of songs and all, but you just go ahead. You can go out through DistroKid. You can go out through CD Baby, who's who I used. I'm just that old school. I was out doing stuff before DistroKid was even a thing, but I know a lot of artists that use them and yeah, all that sort of thing. And out there, books have become similar. You know, there's it's weird because you have people and I think that they only say it to be negative. In fact, I have a friend who goes off on a tangent over it. The verbiage self-published because if something is a small press, it's essentially me doing the same exact thing for other people that somebody does that's self-published, which could be Amazon or any other medium that you're going ahead and getting it published through. So I mean, it's like a negative, it's either published or not, and it's either selling or it's not. And there's an audience for a lot of things, and you're bringing in an audience to this new platform and giving people another medium to sell their comics. So I like that. Tell me what your vision is. So you said that you've done Mangafy, which I'm looking at right now, by the way. And manga is a huge seller. I just put out a black and white comic, my first comic, Zorro Kills #1, Phuket Mama #1, and it's in black and white. And there were people that said they like that because they like manga and all that. If it's good art, it's good art, whether it's color or black and white. And there's some colors too are fantastic, so I don't knock that at all. I love it when there's good splash of color, but there's a lot of black and white art that I really like. Tell me about your vision for working with creators both on Mangafy and on the TuneTube and what you see coming along.
Sure. I would love to start from the point of self-publishing. I don't recognize the creator as the self-publisher, even like the business operation, because creating the comics, it's same like creating the business, creating the startup. They need the same act, marketing. You need the create. You need to hire a team, or you need to work. So it's not like about self-publishing. You should take yourself and understand that you are promoting your business. You are actually the salesman of your business. It can be manga, comics, and etc. And this is what we are trying to explain to our partners that working with us, trying to change this mindset. And regarding the creators, we it's like 5 years ago started the new year era, the creator era. So anyone that's sitting in the home, they can make money. We actually, the whole start of the TuneTube was created on the way. I'm from Israel, but I'm traveling a lot. All my team is traveling. So, we create in what we believe in any country. So, as I said before, I do believe it's great era for comics creator. You can check Kickstarter campaigns. More than 75% of them getting to their goals, and the people are ready to buy, are ready to read, ready to have a really great content. If you compare, for example, for the webtoon, you have a lot of content there, but only like say 20% of them is really in good and in good quality and good having good stories. But um, you know, it's good time for the comics creator, and so I think from our perspective, we try to help them convert the fans to actually people who pay for them for promoting their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of moving parts to any business. I mean, you could take where I work. Let me just where am I? That right there. Goatees and fast signs. So t-shirt printing, signs, yada yada yada. Not a comic book shop, but nonetheless, I work professionally as a graphic artist at Marvel, at DC, what have you. They have more people than just a writer and just an artist. And I stress the importance of this because I find people that say, hey, I'm looking for a writer and an editor. Those are totally two different ways of looking at things, two different skill sets. Maybe you can do both. Uh, but they say they're looking for an editor. I tell people I'm not an editor. I will write things incorrectly, as widespread as my vocabulary and all that is, but I'll look at it and I'll read it the right way. And you're just kind of like looking over it with a haze. It's like I want somebody else to look at this that doesn't know what I'm saying to see if I didn't do all the punctuation right or if I spelled the word wrong or whatnot. And Grammarly can take you so far, but you kind of need a person to look at it. But Grammarly helps to clean it up before you send it to the person and whatnot. So yeah, absolutely. Promotion is huge. And I mean, just looking at any of these big companies, which, they say if you want to be successful to look and see what successful people do. when you look at Marvel or when you look at DC, you find people that are doing a great many jobs that have nothing directly to do with doing the art and doing the writing, because that's true to success. You need that, and you're providing a lot of that for people and everything. No, so I love that. I think that that's a cool thing. Tell me what all you see down the road and what advice that you might be able to give to people that are looking to work in the medium of comics or manga.
Okay, as I said, a big fan of collaboration. You mentioned Run. There is a lot of tools, and there is a lot of stuff that creating the tools for creators, but you need people to create a good story. So I do believe in collaboration. You can do it, all those things alone. So find the team, work together, change mindset, and start to think about your comics like truly business. And once you change this mindset, you can operate and make the steps toward your success. I mean, the success you're selling, and in that perspective, you can find additional tools like whatever. You can use the ToonTube, you can use the Patreon, or you can build your site. It's all about resources, and it's all about what you invest in that way. On our perspective, we're trying to make much more easy to start selling the comics, and instead of creating the app, instead of creating your own site. And yeah, we do believe to, it's always important to check how many revenues you keep for yourself. Some of the platforms taking much more from the creator. This is what we found in webtoons, for example, or other platforms. They're trying to keep for themselves the most of the revenues. This is not right, and it's kind of better to think of your revenues and keep as much as possible for yourself, and also you keep your own comments for yourself. The right thing.
No, no, I agree totally, and yeah, the whole rights and everything is an issue in the revenue, and and whatnot. So before I even wrote my first comic book, I had written a lot of books. So I've got over 20 out there now. Novels, novellas, novelettes, serials, short stories and collections and what have you. Some of which I've published, and then others are in anthologies by some other people. Even though I published a few anthologies, and I don't know how well that works in comics. I know a few comics that have that. It works really well in indie horror because it's like a sample, platter of some stuff. So they see somebody that they know and they think, I'm going to check that out because I know this guy in it, and maybe I'll find somebody else that I like. And that to me as an author, that's like the best advertising that I know of that I could get like cheaply. Yeah, sometimes being paid to do it, which that's nice. But cheaply, some of them you'll throw something in there for free. It's not like a novel. It's not nearly that many words. And so somebody checks it out and they say, I'm going to buy 5 more of his books. So yeah, that works out well. It's good when people can come together and when they can do that sort of thing together. So I mean, it looks like you have a lot of cool content that's on here on TuneTube already. How many creators did you initially begin working with TuneTube? Did it start out with a handful or like super small or what?
Depend. We're working with the small studios and also with the publisher for operating a lot of comics. So we have different models for small studios and publisher. For example, for the publisher, we can create for them the option to be like over Netflix and sell membership for all their stuff. But small studios, we offer different features, and we try to be, we try to make the customer the segment per studio, per the size of the studio. Yeah. And we have no the small, like early stage studios. Most of the titles in all the food and they're all installed. So we try to grow with them, we help them to grow. And this is this is kind of the small filter we are using for all our
Very, very good. That's very cool. Yeah, and I mean, and it looks like some super quality stuff. You've got some that really have that throwback comic feel to like what I grew up in. I was born in the 80s. To like what I grew up in and everything, you know, looking at the comics, they remind you of the old Marvel or the DC and everything. So yeah, it looks really solid. So do people go ahead and that are getting these, do they, so the reader, do they get like a subscription and they can see everything, or do they get each comic or go to each creator individually for those people that are like, I want to check this out?
great question. So it depends on what the reader is looking for. They can subscribe for all episodes. They can buy only one episode, just like test, and they read it, and after that make decision to subscribe. Uh, if you think in a vertical of Patreon, we tried to create like Patreon for comics creators, unique for all their needs and for all their readers. So yeah, I think there's a lot of options how to search it. Even you can make a tip with the creator. You can buy the merchandise from this specific creator. You can solo art buying. So we're trying to give the whole channel where a creator can sell the,
That's
not
excellent.
only
And you were talking about like the profitability and everything too. So I mean, having written like a lot of books, and I've went at it a few different ways, and I'll just name how it works like otherwise, because I know that people get bigger percentages from their sales with y'all than they do say like Amazon or what have you. So like when I'm writing a novel or what have you, because I, you know, did more than a few of those. So I'll have a novel and I'll have the novel and I'll put it out through like Ingram Spark, who I like a lot. They used to charge actually, and now that they're not. So that's good. Because I could canvas the market and everything. So I'd put it out through Ingram Spark, and you know, I would get a certain amount of sales if a bookstore, you know, bought something, because you have to give them a discount. I mean, they like, you know, they're not going to get it otherwise, and they let you choose what discount you want to give the bookstore because they're trying to make money. Um, and then, you know, you've got it on Amazon, which of course they can reach over and do that unless you tell them to only do physical, which there have been reasons that I've did that. Formatting is one of those, you know, Kindle Create and what have you. So I can have the formatting look exactly like it looks in the book, you know, whether it has like some kind of imagery or whatnot, something that it needs to specifically look the same, or it'll ruin, you know, the visuals there. So, you know, yeah, so you put that on Amazon in the ebook format, and so then that's a different amount of money. And of course you're charging less for an ebook, you know, typically than a physical copy. And then if you do something like a Kindle Unlimited, which I did a few things to test with those, I've only ever had one book, just just one book that anybody's did anything with the Kindle Unlimited. That's my anthology, Shut Up and Bleed. Um, and you get like a commission off of like every page that people read. So if they read like 2 pages, it's going to be nothing. But then if they read all what 500 or whatever pages, it's a little bit more, and that's sparse. But what happens is people that are subscribing to Kindle Unlimited anyway, the more that they read, because it's like included in their thing, the better you know get from that. I almost wonder if Audible works that way. I'm a listener. I don't have anything on Audible, but I've listened to a lot of books because while I'm doing graphic art, I'll listen to books and everything. So yeah. Uh, so I sell a book, say Zorro Kills, because that's my new comic. So Zorro Kills, I sell it for $2.99 as an ebook because it's like, and I know prices really fluctuate, but when I was looking around at DC and when I was looking at Marvel and looking at like just normal comic book companies that you think of when you think of comics, I was like, that seems like a pretty average price. If I sell it too high, I'm not going to sell it. If I sell it too low, somebody's going to think this must not be any good. He's got it too cheap. Um, I get like 49 cents or something like that off of my $2.99, that they pay. So Amazon's getting some money there for something they don't have to do anything with because it's digital. If it's print, well, I think I've got that at like $5, which again, for it's what 30 yeah, 30 pages total because it's one full 24-page comic, and then it might be 32. I'm not a math guy. I'm good at plenty of things. Math isn't one of them. Then it's a 6-page bonus comic when you flip it upside down, turn it around, and then there's a page that says close this book and turn it over, that faces both ways, and enjoy another comic. So yeah, that's so for that's $5, and I'll make like $1 basically off of it. So way better if I sell them in person. That's of course the best percentage that you can get out there. But then there's a lot of legwork with that, and you're paying to set up at a table at some event, probably, unless you're like a special guest. I've did both, but you're at a special event and you're talking to people and you're engaging them, and hopefully like not on your cell phone the whole time because you get those too, and then they wonder why they don't sell. Um, Talk about the percentages that creators get when they have something that people can go ahead and get off of TuneTube.
Cool. You touch a lot of topics, so let's start from Amazon, for example. Amazon, they take more than half of your revenues, and they not actually no one promotes your book on Amazon. You promote your book by yourself. So from that perspective, Toon keep only 25% because we need the 75 we're giving to the creator. Let's start from that point. And regarding the pricing, you're right. It's kind of normal comics pricing, but it's all about the promotion. It really depends on how you promote and how you create your brand. But there's a lot of comic book that you can sell more than $10 for online book, and there's a lot of that you can sell for free. You choose your price, and the price depends on the branding and the cool stuff you build around your business. It's like same business. You can go and, for example, go outside and check the fashion shop. The same T-shirt can be for $10, and another fashion shop for 200 and more bucks. It's all about branding. And regarding what we have unique on TuneTube, we do believe in upselling, because once your reader bought the book, you can use the channel for email marketing and uh, sell the additional items. For example, you mentioned the T-shirt. This is a great idea. Once you started and you sold your first comic for $2, you can offer, and the people and the readers love it. You can offer your T-shirt. It's already connection between you and the reader, your story and the reader. I do believe that really good store can sell everything. And the point of the start, you can choose how you start. You can start with the low price. I can talk a lot about the full pricing strategy, but specifically in the comics, I do believe, um, it's kind of Marvel. Think about Marvel. They sell the comics cheap, but they sell the mass, and they do their revenue. And, for you and small business, you can sell the cheap. you should think about the ways how you can sell your comics and how you can give the value to the reader so they can pay much more than $2. And yeah, it's all about creating the brand around your book.
No, absolutely. And you know, and while we're on this, because I've seen a few, not a ton, but a few things that I'm a drummer too, so I'm going to use like a drumming term. There's drum shops and there's drum boutiques, you know, which means it's a more expensive niche drum shop. And I've seen that with comics too. And I mean, and I don't know like 100% like a lot of these, but I get that impression from places like Distillery. There's no vowels in that except the Y, which is questionable whether that's a vowel. But if you look up like Distillery, and you know they make comics, and I was looking in I forget what sales chart that it was, and they did really well. I mean, they're listed like with Image and Marvel and all these people. They've got into comic book shops, which that involves Diamond. To you know who I've talked with, and it's a little bit of back and forth right now. That may or may not happen. But Distillery, you know, you'll see some of their stuff, and I have to do more research to see, is this a graphic novel or how many pages is this thing or that thing, but they look like they're higher dollar, but it's also it's more of like it's like a niche hip kind of thing, I guess, you know. I don't know. I've got Rock Revival jeans. You know, I mean, I have paid like $100 for a pair of jeans, and then I've got jeans at Walmart too. So I completely understand that it's like I really want these jeans, and I'm going to pay more money. Not because I don't care what the brand name is. It's just that I particularly like them that much that they're worth that to me, and that's what everything really comes down to. You know, a car, whatever. You know, is it worth more than the money that I'm holding in my hand? And if it is, then I'll go ahead and do that. But yeah, it supports indie creators and whatnot too, which I think a lot of people are big on doing it, and I certainly am. You'd hope because I am one. But yeah,
Yeah, you know, it's again, it's everything about mindset. Unfortunately, most of the creators thinking they can't ask more than $2 for their book, and they haven't tried to give it for free. But let's think about how many times effort you put on creating the comic book. It's not like the creating the book. For example, creating the book is much more cheaper today. And creating the comic is expensive. There's a lot of resources. It's kind of, you should think of all the, I know it's a passion, I know it's great, you enjoy creating, but if you want to create a business, you should think in business perspective. You think of the time you put in this specific comics and the output the revenue you are getting out. It's kind of, it's all about changing the mindset from I'm solo creator or I'm solo business and entrepreneurship and for example, you love the music. You can check the things we now promoting Kid of Darkness. Kid of Darkness is a collaboration between Comic Studio and the heavy metal company. So they sell the comics more than 12 bucks for the digital version. No, and the reason they can do that, they already found their niche. They already found their segment, and the segment is kind of this heavy metal group. You know? So this is the additional way to make the collaboration between your art, or you can offer to any music band or someone else to make the collaboration and create the good stuff.
that's awesome. Yeah, I love it, and I love and appreciate what you're doing. I think that there's so much room and so many things going on in the comic book medium here today. Well, it says that our time is running low. This is recorded via Zoom, the free Zoom. So it has us on a time limit. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the listeners that you'd like them to know? Certainly, they can check you out on tunetube.co, and they can also check you out on Mangafy, MANGAFY .club. Is there anything else that you would like for them to know or say to the listeners?
Yeah, I think, as I said, it's a really good time for comics creators, kind of renaissance of comics creators. People are looking for the great content, and there's no reason you're not making money with what you create. And so put efforts and thinking to change your mindset and make money, turn your funds into money, and actually continue doing what you love.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the Comic Book Podcast. It was great having you on, and I look forward to seeing a lot of cool things from you and your companies in the future. Thanks again.
Thank you for having me. Have a nice day.